All right, so we will call the work session for our recess meeting on Tuesday, January 15th to order. And we will begin by taking a look at our official agenda. We're waiting, Alderman Sistrunk should be here shortly. She's been held up. So we'll go through the agenda to start with, and then we'll move with the presentation that Mr. Haviland's going to give us on where we are in our code rewrite procedure. So this is a fairly light agenda again, which is really nice. And the minutes, Chris, you are good on the minutes? No issue?
They're finalized, yes, ma'am.
Okay, they are finalized, and I'm going to assume, unless y'all stop me, that we're going to make that a consent agenda item. We're going to have a public hearing on the rezoning of the parcels on Canal Street. If the board recalls, this came forward to us before and then was pulled. We did, I think, go ahead and have that public hearing because it had been noticed, but nothing aside from that. So, Daniel, is there anything you want to share about this rezoning? Is anything that has changed from the original?
Yes, he has just requested today to be pulling it.
Really?
Okay, then. Well, we've already had one public hearing. Do we need to have another one because we've noticed it again?
You advertised it, so just call for it.
Okay, all right, well, we will do that, and then, well, we can pull consideration and just have the, Lisa, let's just strike consideration and do the public hearing piece. Was there, he just didn't have things together again, or do we?
He was concerned with the 3/5 requirement for approval.
Okay.
So he decided to back off.
Okay, all right, so do we expect it to come back yet again anytime soon?
I do not know.
Okay, all right, well, we will go forward to the public hearing and not worry about the consideration piece of this. There will be some new employees to introduce. I don't know, does anyone have anything as it relates to, oh, you put that one under mayor's business, okay. I'm used to that being under mayor's comments. That's all right, you threw me there for a second. Anybody, either of you interested in making any comments or adding anything to under the comments section? All right, we're going to scratch that and take that back to mayor having no business whatsoever. And then board business is the appointment of PC.
Consent.
I would assume that would be consent, and he was the only application. So, and he has served in the past and is interested in serving again. All right, planning. Daniel, I'm going to let you roll with this again. If there's anything, this is. Well, wait a minute. Has he pulled all of this?
I'll have to clarify that with him. He pulled the rezoning, which I imagine he would want to proceed to the other two items.
I wouldn't think so either, so let's clarify that, but there are two of these on here that are associated with that Jack's project, so they may very well go away, and if they do, we need to know that sooner than later, so Lisa can make that adjustment on the agenda. The other one is allowing for sidewalk variance at Peters Rock, and that was not that's more of an MDOT slash BOAA, right?
Yeah, DOA, when they met, basically they allowed or recommended the approval of it, and the request was not to have a sidewalk that had two driveways entering the property. So from the western edge of the western driveway to the property line, to not have that section. DOA recommended that they be allowed to not have it right now, but have a bond in perpetuity until the property to the west develops, and at such time they have to build the sidewalk. That was their recommendation.
Okay, and that, for discussion purposes, bonds in perpetuity, I don't think there is such a thing. And I know that piece of property, if y'all recollect that piece of property to the west, it's got that huge drop-off to it. I'm not at all sure that that's gonna develop anytime in our lifetime. So I'm not so sure how valuable. Chris, what about bonds, lengthy bonds? That doesn't.
I mean, we ask for evergreen bonds all the time, but
Right.
of course, financial providers are hesitant to
Right,
give those.
exactly.
And so, if you're asking me for a year amount that we might need, is that
Yeah.
the question?
Yeah,
5 years we could go to bat for?
okay, all right. I just don't think.
As far as the long
Yeah.
haul duration.
Yeah, I'm just not thinking, at the very least, we get a sidewalk to the crosswalk that then goes across 182, excuse me, to the other side of the street where they also have lots of parking going on. So I'm just not sure that we even need to worry about them as it relates to that, but at least a minimal bond as opposed to in perpetuity. Come on in. No, we just,
Y'all might have finished
no,
already.
Getting close though. No, I'm just kidding, we're not, because we held on Daniel to make his presentation until you had a chance to get here. So right now, we're just talking about the items under planning. So anyway, something for us to think about for the board meeting. So not consent on that, but can take a look at it and see. The landscape waiver for Power Stroke, Daniel, we're gonna go in just a brief detail on what it is.
There were 5 specific requests in regards to that. The plan that they submitted to make it where it could pass and be approved by staff. The tree advisory board approved 4 of them just outright as requested, and then 1 of them that they modified. And 1 of them they did not, I'm sorry. That was the
Okay, so we just have one that might be worth considering besides the ones that BOA supported. Okay. And Power Stroke, if you recall, is the gentleman who came to us at the last board meeting and was asking about the width of the entry, so. Okay. All right, and the other one's Keeping Starkville Beautiful. We've got a national award, which was really pretty cool. Amy, if you recall, worked for us as a code enforcement, but she also did Keep Starkville Beautiful things, and she put in for this grant, and she is, I have asked her if she would serve as the executive director for Keep Starkville Beautiful, and she has agreed to do that, and part of this would be paid for through the national conference, the state funding. The majority of it would be, I think we would cover, as a city, we would cover just that above the $300 that goes toward airfare, we would cover that, and through Keep Starkville Beautiful funds. So it struck me as a really nice award for us and an opportunity for us to have some national visibility in a positive way. So, consent for that? Anybody? Okay. All right, thank you. All right, engineering. This is the sidewalks project that I actually was referencing when we were talking today, that we're moving forward with. Edward, do you want to add a little addition to any of this?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've had some questions about where those sidewalks will
Right.
be, and at this time, we really don't know. I think in the cover sheet, what it indicated is that we'll obviously be looking at trying to fill in missing gaps where people are already walking. We will try to be extending to points of interest, particularly pedestrian places where they're walking, as well as improved intersections. So I think those are kind of our overall priorities. But with these dollars, we're really trying to make them stretch as far as we can. And so some of it will be really dictated on, is this feasible, is it practical, and try to make some kind of economic decisions throughout the design.
And we will bring it back to the board.
I envision in about 2 or 3 months, we'll bring back with our recommendations of the best ways to spend the money.
And this is that remaining funds that is landscaping the rest of 12 right now. So we're looking at what, 270 something, Edward, 280 something?
I want to say it was 285 or 290.
Yeah, it's a nice amount of money that should take us a long way with sidewalks.
Yeah. If you have any ideas of things you think, let me know.
Yeah.
Who are we partnering with? Engineering?
Garver Engineering. Yeah, Wayne Black.
Yeah.
And this is those funds that MDOT, again, Mike Taggart, thank you to Mike Taggart, for allowing us to use in ways that are productive along Highway 12. So it's been really great. Okay. But that's what this is. Any sense of needing to put that, or have that discussion? Yeah, let's have that discussion, because that would be a good thing to have in terms of the fee.
And Mayor, I've approved it, so if you want to strike that clause pending the city attorney's approval.
Oh,
we
okay,
can strike
good.
that.
All right, well, let's do that. Lisa, strike that?
And I'm gonna add the engineering contract with Garber Engineering.
Yes, okay. That'd be good. Okay, good, and then we'll have another opportunity to talk about it and highlight it at the board meeting, so. And this is the $588,000, again, one of those things, which easily, to me, is, we have got an MOU that Edward has inputted on, and Chris, you've got to take a look at to see what else we ought to do. We need to send it to Joanne Lucas, we need to send it to, I guess, Ms. Garrett at the county, to pass it on so they can approve it, but I think this is an opportunity for us to go ahead and accept that grant, and it's just another piece of that walkability that we're working on from the Loxley Way piece. We're going to go north and into the university, while the other piece goes south and into the university, so.
Consent.
Yeah, I think consent, if everybody's willing.
You
Great.
wanna talk about it a little bit?
Yeah,
before the
well, I think I
general
want to talk
public?
about it, yeah, we'll do that, Okay, and this is a declare as surplus, the street department on
Consent.
GovDeeds? Yeah, okay. Claims docket, we know will not be acceptable for consent, but the financial statements usually are, so do those. Fire department, we've got a lease agreement. Chris, you're good with this lease agreement?
I am.
Okay, any issues on that one for a lease purchase? Let's in on that one. And the rest of these are hiring and street department work, and then the intern specialist, the digital. We're losing Dallas, and he's been really good. I think he's been beneficial.
The intern?
Yes, the intern.
Which item is that?
I'm sorry, that's 3 under there. So I would think the receptionist is a part-time, and then the street department is to finish cleaning up the remainder of us putting the street signs in with connection with stop signs, et cetera. Edward seems to think there'll be about another 3, maybe 4 months of work to do that, and then we'll have it done all over town. And I think, if y'all haven't noticed, I think it's made a huge difference.
Do we
So.
still have our intern for you?
No, she left back in October or so, I think.
Are we
Yeah.
going to,
Dallas has been doing it all.
he's been doing it all?
Yes, he's been doing all of it,
Well,
so.
Cool, good for
Yeah,
Dallas.
yeah,
We're gonna-
absolutely, and
Okay.
hopefully we'll get another go-getter
Okay,
as well.
good deal.
So, yeah,
All right.
that'd be great, so. All right, parks, this is concessions agreement, Chris is good with it,
I am.
right? Okay, so, consent on that one. Let's see, police department, this is vertical transportation, elevator in parentheses. I just went, really? We're gonna talk about vertical transportation? Anyway, this is and Chris, this one is good as well.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and then, we have a DARE class, so both of those for police, I think probably comfortable with consent on those. Okay, and utilities, Jacob, you here? Anything in particular about this we wanna talk about? I know David is gonna be excited, Alderman Little's gonna be excited about the, mast arm going up at Lynn and South Montgomery. In fact,
Yes.
I saw somebody this morning putting out stakes, so I'm assuming that's what that was for, stakes and an orange flag associated with it. Is that what that would be associated with?
Quite possibly, it could be the engineer, laying out the approximate location, so we can go ahead and get that site.
Okay.
set.
Well, I think probably a Nextdoor, a Facebook, some Twitter going on, because people are gonna want to start asking what's going on, so we can start talking about that, okay? We good with consent on that?
I think the timeline on that, Mayor, and Alderman Little is, have it completed in July.
Okay, but they'll start seeing work
Oh, yeah.
here very
sorry,
shortly,
yes.
because when I was looking at that guy going, why are you wrapping an orange stake around that? And I went, that new.
Are those some more of the recovered mast arms we had maybe
They
from
are,
MDOT?
yeah.
Good.
Okay. Lowest and best quote from whatever this is for whatever this, some failed filter and bar screen.
Yes, ma'am.
And you want,
Bar-
any explanation you want to go with that?
Bar screen at the wastewater plant,
That was
had
the
some
first.
mechanical components fell, and so we need to fix those. This is, for the labor, and then number 3 is for the actual material.
Right.
So, if you want to have additional detail, I'll be happy to go as far as you want me to.
Well, no, actually, I don't unless the rest of the board does. It's a matter of faith, Jacob. We believe that we need this, so, okay, we good with consent on those. And then best quote from GNC in the amount of, $15,000 or so for the purchase of a water tap machine. Is that associated with this as well? Or is that
No.
separate and is distinct?
No, ma'am, this is separate, this is more for the potable water side,
Okay,
and, this is so that we can do taps that are, 6 to 8 inches in size,
okay,
and, we expect that this will pay for itself in the matter of about a year.
excellent, okay, thank you. Consent on that?
That's the part we want to hear.
Yes, it is.
Sorry?
The pay for itself part. is what we
Yes.
wanna hear.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
And that takes up all of that from consent, but while I've got you, Jacob, the infrastructure, how far into it are we with Pleasant Acres?
Pleasant Acres is moving along well. The southern section of Pleasant Acres, we're doing really well with the water line, the main water line that kind of travels from, west to east through there. And then also, we've been working on the sewer line this week, and they have made it halfway along the main trunk line on it as well. If we can have, more than 2 days of dry days at a time, we should be able to make hay pretty quickly there, so, but it's just getting a few dry days and, getting that pipe in the ground. It's going really well though.
Okay,
so far.
and have we received, and this is just, we just us talking, have we received much in the way of pushback or concerns or complaints? Feedback is a better word, thank you so much. Feedback from the residents who are impacted?
Yes, ma'am. Fortunately, I'm gonna say 99.9% of the feedback has been really good. We've had a couple of just minor, instances where maybe the contractor had a piece of pipe laid on a driveway while somebody was trying to get in, we just had to move that. Very minor things, easy things to tackle, but the bulk of it has been really positive to date, and, I'm hopeful that it'll stay that way through the spring.
Excellent, no, that's great. I mean, we know that there are gonna be hiccups, but as long as we address them, I think everybody will be patient.
I
And
think
that's really good.
everybody's been pretty
Yeah.
positive to date,
Good,
so we
Good.
hope to keep it that way.
okay,
I think a lot of that is the work y'all put in, having meetings in the subdivision and
Yes, ma'am.
doing a lot of front-end communication and education.
Yes, ma'am. We're trying to, stick to every 2 to 4 weeks, really putting out kind of an update to the, people over in Pleasant Acres. And then also, I know that, even our internal folks, they've been going and putting information on doors as we were getting close to their property. We're trying to keep that communication channel wide open so that people have that trust in us and we have that trust in them, and it's a good mutual relationship.
That's perfect, that's perfect, thank you so much. Okay, and just real quick, because I know other people have places to go and things to do. The Lynn Lane project is underway, and I can say that because I was stuck behind traffic this morning early. So if you can avoid Lynn Lane during the rush hours of the 7:30, 7 to 8 o'clock hour, probably best to do so for what, another month or so? 2 months. Oh, great. Oh, yeah, it's kind of rugged, but they're working it. They're working it.
It's
So,
going well.
yeah.
They're installing the pipe on the north side of
Yes.
Lynn Lane right now, and as soon as they do, they'll widen that, pour the curb and gutter. The entrance road into the sportsplex is completed, all we lack now is the asphalt there. So as soon as that, similar work is done there at the sportsplex entrance, they're gonna move up to industrial park.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, well, and that'd be one of the things we probably need to be talking to people about as we're, going Facebook and on Twitter and all that sort of thing, letting people know about it, so.
And I missed, what did you project the completion date to be?
early to mid-March is what we're shooting for.
What I thought I heard, but I thought that can't be right. So,
Again,
Good.
similar to Jacob's
Yeah.
comments, we
Weather.
just need that weather to
Weather.
cooperate.
Okay, all right. Mr. Haviland, if you would please, give us a brief update on the code rewrite and where you are, because you had good news you relayed to me this morning.
Yes. Okay, well, I'm just gonna kind of talk briefly about, how we started this whole process, where we are currently and what we're doing next. First of all, the first thing we did, first step was, to dive back into the comprehensive plan, really examine all the place types, all the suggestions made by the consultant, and then also to take that and then start looking really carefully at the place type map. Once we started getting into the place type map, this is a separate issue that will be coming up in the future. We found a couple of errors in the map. Let's say quite a bit on the map, but they're basically all in 3 categories. When we originally started this, we had a place type called the natural place type that kind of ran through the city through all the flood zones and floodways. And at the very last minute, that was removed as a place type. And once it was removed, the underlying place types were kind of messed up. They were sort of applied to a place type that was near it, wasn't really thought out. So we found some errors in that. Second part was the county has recently updated their parcel data to make it more accurate, and once they did that, the parcel data that the consultants used was totally off. Like some areas it was fine, some areas off by 30 feet. So it's just kind of to correct that, and then the last one was just general errors. That's something we'll be discussing again in the future. Then the next step we did is we started looking at all the existing neighborhoods in the city. We had the, working with the utilities department, they've been working, getting some utility information, which is the addressing of each parcel. So we're able to use that data to determine like a density map for each area. And then we took the density map to help us determine what the new zoning classifications would be for all the residential areas. And using the density map and the comp plan to come up with these determinations. Now where we are currently, what we got up here on the screen, this is the spreadsheet that we're using to sort of show where we're at any given moment. And what it does, Joey will kind of slowly scroll, it's got the basic classifications of each section with the subsections and the percentage complete to give us a total overall percentage complete so that when we're asked, we can actually get a fairly accurate answer. And one thing you'll notice right off the bat, we've always discussed this in terms of section 1, section 2, and section 3. Once we got into this and really started writing some of these sections, we quickly realized that using just 3 sections was going to be problematic. Because as you go into a section, you'll, just with the way that the numbering system goes, it would push from a 1 to an A to a Roman numeral to a 1 to 2, 3 I's, and you'd end up having just a strip of actual text. So this was just a way to correct that and kind of clarify the document as a whole. As you see, there are 17 sections. Of the 17, 9 or 85% are above. 5 are currently what we're working on right now. And the remainder will either be input from other departments or part of some existing code that we're just sort of reformatting to put into this document. You can see at the top, we're currently at 64%. 77% of that is directly what the planning department's working on. I know the other departments, utility and engineering, have already started their portions of this, and at some point, we're gonna all move together, and the planning will be responsible for formatting that into this document. Now going forward, obviously, our next immediate step is gonna be to just continue writing the remaining sections. And then after that, it's to obviously format everybody's sections into one cohesive document, and then probably a time-consuming piece, but not really a large piece, is we've got to generate a lot of graphics for this document, for it to be as useful as possible.
And you met with the street department, or engineering and street department, you met with Edward and Cody to how that's gonna meld that together. So I think that's probably gonna be a few more meetings, or once Edward and Cody have had a chance to digest all of that and make recommendations, so.
We've met with them and utilities, and
Okay.
utilities are giving us a little bit of feedback on some
Okay.
of the sections, mainly in section 1 and 2
Okay.
of the new numbering system. But they also are looking into their part for the rest of it.
Okay, all right, and so you would project 1st of March?
I think that would be reasonable. And this is, the percentage complete of draft 1. So
Yeah, well, but hopefully draft 1 will be.
Draft 1, we want to make this complete as
Yes,
as possible to
absolutely.
get as much input as possible, so draft 2 can be as close to the final
Yes,
document. as
and
possible.
we can tweak as needed, so.
So to get the first draft,
Yeah. March 1?
that's good news.
And then
It is.
we'll push hard and fast on draft, whatever the next draft is, so they
Sure.
can be finalized. How much, Chris, have you been into the middle of this much at all?
Not the drafting, but the public hearing process that we'll need.
Right,
We'll
no,
have to have
absolutely.
2 of those, but no, I haven't reviewed their draft yet, so.
Okay, okay.
As soon as draft 1's done, if I could look at it.
Absolutely, you will
Take us a
be,
while.
you will be top of the CC list, so, okay. All right, any other questions of Mr. Havlin while you have?
Well, this is more of a question for you and maybe for Mr. Havlin, but refresh my memory in terms of, part of this plays into the discussion we've been having about the industrial park, correct?
Yes, well, I mean, this was part of getting this done in order to undergird the lawsuit, our side of the lawsuit as to the change in the code and the zoning and
Okay,
all
to
that
kind
sort
of
of
follow through with it. follow
Yes,
forward.
yes. But I'm feeling less stressed about it now that we've won
Right, and then
the
now.
lawsuit.
Yeah,
But this would have been part of that makes our case stronger.
right, I hear you.
Yeah.
Good.
As will somebody who may go into the zoning, the C2 zoning already up there, so.
Right.
So, and there's apparently lots of activity going on that would be, we
Well-
can be hopeful that something will be going in.
Well, I think this is, really applaud y'all. That's a lot of work. So, and especially to get that draft, that first draft in by March. Just something, me personally, I've said since the first year, I don't want it to be year 4 and we're still talking about the code rewrite, right? So, to say that potentially by the 1st of March that we're gonna have a first draft, in my opinion, is really impressive. So I appreciate y'all, good work. So I like
Absolutely.
what
And
I'm hearing.
They really have,
Yeah.
they've stuck back in the back there
Yes.
somewhere and have been working on it really diligently, so I greatly appreciate what they've done. So, any question? Oh, and architectural review is a part of that, so just make sure that you're
Okay.
aware
The
of that.
previously reviewed sections that were 1 and 2 are included in here, 1, 2, and 3, and they've been modified just a little bit at this point, but probably further modifications as we get closer to completion, just to make it all line up as one document.
Okay, all right. Anything? Yes, ma'am.
I just want to echo what Alderman Miller said. This is a much bigger project than most of us can even begin to imagine, because what this does, in my opinion, it has a bit to do with what y'all were talking about, but more importantly, it takes that comprehensive plan, that vision, and it translates it into how do you accomplish that vision, and gives everybody who's gonna be doing something here in the city a roadmap for what expectations are. And it's important to get it right, but it's also important to get it finished, and so I'm very pleased to hear that we're moving along.
Well, and you talked about that a little bit today. I think it's just maintaining a vision is why I'm impressed, because it's helping, makes us look good. But to accomplish that, because so many cities, they spend so much money on things like comprehensive plans, they spend so much money on them, and then they just put them on a shelf.
Sit in
And
a corner.
it never gets done. And I applaud everybody that I feel like we've stayed consistent talking about the comprehensive plan, we're close to getting this code rewrite in, and, so it's a good thing.
Well, and let me say this about that. One of the things, our last comprehensive plan, if you go back and look at the things that they suggested that we do,
Right.
we achieved a good number of them, if not all of them. I mean, I think
Right.
maybe even one or two that we didn't follow through on in its entirety, but we did a whole lot of those.
Right.
And so I think that Starkville has been really good about paying attention to those things and following through, and I expect this to be the same case, so
Sure.
anyway.
And these are not static documents,
Oh, no.
because things change, what people want from their community change. And a lot of our old code is, what, 50, 60 years old now?
Mhm.
And
More than
Yeah, yeah.
and it's time, it's time. So I'm very, very excited about
Yes,
this.
me too. So, thank you very much.
Thank
We'll
you.
convey that to Emily when she gets back, so. Okay, if there's nothing else, anything else somebody wants to talk about while we're here amongst us? Okay, well, then in that case, we will adjourn the meeting, and we will see everyone on Tuesday. Thank you, Matt, we appreciate it. So, have a good weekend.